When envisioning a medieval siege, most of us picture knights and siege engines laboring to bring a castle to surrender. However, what about the individuals not directly entangled in the skirmishes, the peasants residing on the castle's lands? In this video, we'll delve into the experiences of farmers, merchants, and laborers to uncover their fates when their lord's castle was besieged. In the spring of 1453, Sultan Mehmed II launched an assault on Constantinople. The first indication of the Ottoman advance came from the forces of the governor of Rumelia, who marched along the coast toward the Golden Horn as an advance guard. They pillaged Byzantine villages, torched farmlands, and devastated vineyards, forming a ring of destruction surrounding the city before the siege had even commenced. This method wasn't exclusive to the Ottomans. Such raids commonly initiated attacks on fortified settlements. As historian Clifford Rogers notes, the burning of farms and properties outside the walls was a typical opening maneuver by besieging armies upon confronting a town. Soldiers displayed little reluctance during these raids, leading to the devastation of entire regions, including defenseless villages and agricultural lands. Rogers describes this procedure almost poetically. Medieval armies typically traversed hostile territories like a comet through the heavens with a solid mass of baggage, and troops in formation, a loose perimeter of outriders miles out from the center, while a large cloud of men dispersed to perform overlapping tasks of burning, plundering, ravaging, and foraging. These tactics inflicted severe damage on rural communities after all. It was their fields, farms, and resources that were pillaged and destroyed. In summary, peasants residing near a besieged fortress were often, if not always, the targets of these aggressive actions. This was not merely accepted. It was deemed strategically advantageous and wholly acceptable. Civilians who aided the besieged by providing essential supplies were considered legitimate military targets. And how did they impact the individuals living through them? In the Middle Ages, the act of looting occurred so frequently that contemporary historians seldom mention it. When they do, they usually resort to vague language like, "The general invaded the foe's territory and his troops caused immense destruction." Consequently, it is often challenging to ascertain what these invasions truly looked like in practice. A more vivid depiction appears in a contemporary account of the revolt of 1173 to 1174, when members of Henry II of England's own family conspired against him. It was early morning, barely breaking dawn when the proud company of knights armed themselves. First, they attacked the town of Belford. They spread across the countryside. Some rushed into farms to wreak havoc, others seized sheep from their folds, while others set farmhouses ablaze. What more can I say? Never will a tale of greater loss be told. You could see Flemings binding peasants together and leading them off as if they were heathens. Women fled to the church only to be snatched away naked, leaving behind their clothes and valuables. They burned the land. But God exhibited his love for these innocent peasants who were defenseless in that their mortal enemies, the Scots, were absent, as they would have beaten, killed, and mistreated them. This excerpt provides a striking illustration of the brutality that accompanied such raids. The livelihoods of ordinary individuals evaporated almost instantaneously. Certain armies even employed specialized units for these tasks, like the Akinji of the Ottoman Empire. German sources aptly refer to them as Renner und Brenner, meaning runners and burners. This irregular cavalry received no formal remuneration. Instead, they relied entirely on looting, raiding, and kidnapping for their survival. Before we examine two of the surviving accounts of individual experiences, it's vital to explore the motivations driving these raids and the purposes they served. By decimating, the literal emptying and laying waste to the surrounding regions, armies achieved three primary goals. Soldiers enriched themselves through plunder. The army collected supplies and food via foraging, and the adversaries suffered significant economic repercussions. During a siege, sudden raids aimed to catch defenders unaware, hindering their capacity to stockpile resources or reinforce the stronghold. These attacks rarely focused on fortified towns. Instead, they targeted vulnerable villages, settlements, and farms, striking at a rural sector that was generally poorly defended. The fates of individual people frequently hinged on the circumstances and intentions of the invading forces. If the attackers were pressed for time, they concentrated on seizing what they needed by clearing out warehouses, cellars, and barns. If their goal was to cause maximum destruction in the shortest possible time, their most effective weapon was fire. When an army ignited thatched rooftops and ripe fields of grain, as witnessed during the revolt of 1173 to 1174, it could annihilate vast expanses of land in its wake. For the peasants caught in these assaults, the aftermath was catastrophic. Within hours, they could lose both their means of income and their homes. Essentially, the slower an army moved, the more thoroughly it looted, resulting in greater economic devastation. To secure enough food, they stripped every last chicken and bushel of grain from the local populace. For instance, if the grain wasn't ripe enough to burn, they would trample it instead. everything we know about. Martin derives from a report he composed in 1444, the year a band of Bohemian warriors invaded his hometown. The nightmare only concluded when they forced their entry into the bedroom of Martin's wife, who had recently given birth. As illustrated in Martin's case, the fate of peasants was often determined by luck and the whims of their assailants. As noted by Malte Pretzel, a medieval warfare expert, those seeking mercy were almost always met with disappointment. While medieval texts frequently discuss a chivalric duty to protect the weak, the impoverished, and women, the historical accounts provide a different narrative. In practice, nearly all soldiers engaged in pillaging while operating within enemy territory, even Christian forces attacking fellow Christians. Often they showed no regard for churches or monasteries. Attacks were particularly violent during conflicts against those of different cultures, other faiths, or groups labeled as heretics, seen as traitors to their beliefs and expected to receive no mercy. One striking example arises from a report on the Lithuanian Crusade. The poet and herald Peter Suckenwort describes how a group of knights attacked a Lithuanian wedding. There was a wedding. The guests came uninvited. They danced with the heathens, leading to probably 60 of them lying lifeless. Then they set fire to the village, causing flames to flicker high into the sky. I swear I wouldn't have wanted to be the groom at that wedding. The bride would have easily chased me away. Perhaps most shocking is not Suckenwort's depiction of the massacre itself, but the casual tone with which he recounts it. Under his pen, the savage assault becomes a playful anecdote, the slaughter of defenseless villagers framed as a bold and even humorous event. There's no trace of remorse, only a sense of pride in the act. The peasants living in the vicinity of a besieged castle were not just occasionally impacted, they were frequently a primary target of the attackers. Looting constituted a core element of medieval warfare, and the unprotected rural populace provided ideal victims. The precise manner in which these raids played out, and the fate of the peasants involved, is known only through a handful of individual accounts. More often than not, their fates hinged on chance and the whims of their attackers. If fortunate, they only lost some valuables. If unlucky, they lost their livelihoods, their liberty, or even their lives. Thank you for watching. Researching and sharing these lesser-known stories from history requires time and dedication, and we rely on your support to continue. For just $3 a month on Patreon, you can help us dig deeper into topics like this, receive early access to upcoming videos, and participate in content polls to influence what we cover next. Your support truly enables us to keep this channel alive.